Hey, my name is Russell Shoultz. I'm Deputy Fire Chief, Harrison County Fire Rescue, and also a board-certified nurse practitioner. We want to talk about COVID-19 and sort of how it impacts law enforcement, firefighters. One of the biggest things when you're dealing with a large emergency or you're dealing with something such as a pandemic is we want to make sure that you're fully aware and you're educated on the situation at hand. Let's talk about PPE. Have your PPE on. N95 mask, some kind of barrier like a Tyvek suit or a gown, gloves and eye protection. No different than if we go to a hazmat call, we have hydrochloric acid leaking. If we go in with level A suits, we do contamination avoidance, we come out, we're properly deconned, we theoretically aren't exposed to hydrochloric acid. Just like this. If we have our PPE on, we go in, we do what we're supposed to do, come out, we appropriately decon, we appropriately disinfect the equipment and the truck. That is not a true exposure. An exposure comes in within 6 foot of the patient without our PPE on, especially someone that has symptoms. Like especially in law enforcement, fire can do this as well. Have the person come out to you. If you're going to speak with them, be greater than 6 foot from them. If you need to, if they're actively ill, have them put a surgical mask on. Some barrier, because we know that COVID-19 is a droplet disease, right? It becomes like anything that comes droplets out saliva, anything that comes out of the mouth or nose, it can contain the virus. So if you have some kind of barrier on them, like an oxygen mask or a surgical mask, it keeps that from happening. Secondly, for firefighters that maybe the patient is not ambulatory, doorway triage. We triage from the doorway, 6 foot or greater away. We're talking to them. If they can come outside, great. Maybe they can't walk, but there's family members inside of the room with them. They've already been exposed to them. We can use that to our advantage. We can hand that family member a surgical mask. They can walk over, place it on the patient right away. That decreases the exposure to us. We would still have our PPE on, but it'd be a more efficient way to do contamination avoidance. So the whole name of the game is reduce the exposure. There's no way in public safety we'll be able to alleviate being exposed to this, but we can certainly reduce our the amount of exposure we have. Anything, fire, police, you got to have the right equipment, right? When you go to a fire, you got to have all your turnout gear, your SCBA. Same thing for law enforcement. You got to have a gun. You got to have all your equipment. Just like this, if you don't have PPE, if you don't have a barrier like a gown or Tyvek suit, if you don't have an N95 mask, if you don't have eye protection, you don't have gloves, do not interact with someone that potentially could have this. It's just not a good practice. Okay, so the bottom line is, what do we do? What are some things we can do? So first of all, distancing. There's nothing social about this disease. We need to maintain our distance, 6 foot or greater. No exception. That's what we need to do. You're around the fire station or you're hanging out, cops you up all the time, 6 foot or greater away. Have the right PPE. We've already talked about that. Just like if you're going to share equipment. Like unfortunately, at some fire departments, you have to share masks. That mask needs to be decontaminated 100% if you're going to share SCBA masks. Washing your hands. I cannot stress that enough. If you're in a car, a cop car, an ambulance, or a fire truck, you can't wash your hands, obviously. Have hand sanitizer. Every time you get in and out of that car, you should apply hand sanitizer. When you walk into a fire station, when you even change rooms throughout the shift, clean your hands. At least every hour, we should be cleaning our surfaces. Doorknobs. We don't think about doorknobs a lot. That's where it's going to be at. Doorknobs, flat surfaces, the chairs we're sitting in, they should be cleaned at least hourly. If you're cleaning stuff, make sure that whatever you're using is an antiviral agent. I've actually seen people recently using things that did not kill viruses. They're antibacterial only. Well, that doesn't do us any good because we're actually dealing with a virus here, not a bacteria. So remember, distancing, 6 foot or greater. Wash your hands, hand sanitizer. It can't be stressed enough. I know at some point it's almost overkill. We hear it all the time. But this is how we're going to beat this thing. We're not going to do it by hoping it goes away. Chief Sullivan and all the staff at Harrison County Fire Rescue is taking the COVID-19 pandemic extremely serious. We've done everything. We're constantly researching. We're constantly looking for input and feedback. We're also wanting to share anything we've done. We've put out multiple policies, multiple procedures. We're updating them literally daily. So if you have any ideas, if you'd like to see any of our information or share your information with me, please contact me. My email address is rtsoultz@co.harrison.ms.us. Contact me. I'll answer any questions you have. I would love feedback from other people, how we can do things better. As good as we are, we can always get better.